What's up, guys? Bondfire here, and welcome to 3-Bar Exploits number 19. We're without Oyster today due to some scheduling conflicts, but I am joined by WakMed19, and it's just the two of us today, so we're going to handle the podcast. We got some good topics we're going to talk about today, and shout out to our sponsor, Strictly Business Gaming, for putting on the show and supporting us. Also, there will be timestamps down below with all the topics we talk, so you guys can jump ahead to your favorite topic and hear us discuss it. And don't forget to leave us a comment on what topics you want us to talk about down below. Now, we're going to start with the question, our typical medic talk. I've got a question for WakMed in regards to him being a medic. And my question is, what is the weirdest call you've been out to?
The weirdest call out. Okay, I take pride in this one, actually. That the weirdest call I've ever been on, and actually took them to the hospital for, was a lady who had a nightmare, and she straight up legit had a nightmare. She said that she'd never had a nightmare before in her life and needed to go to the hospital to be evaluated. Okay,
Really?
We'll take you to the hospital. Let's go. You call, we haul. That's what we do.
You call, we haul. Is that your motto?
That's the motto. You call, we haul. And she had a nightmare, and she was in her pajamas, and we hauled her in to the hospital. She was not from the most upstanding location, and she didn't seem like she had it all together anyway.
Yeah.
As far as what you would consider all together, not like medically weird or whacked out, or maybe your brain wasn't working right. No, she had everything going on that she needed to. She just did math with her shoes off.
Wow.
Or something, you know. She
Right.
wasn't the brightest crayon in the box. Seemed like the kind that would eat soup with a fork. Or a butter knife.
As long as it's chunky safe, I mean, at least you're gonna get something.
Yeah. No, that's actually the weirdest when she did that. Let's see. Second to that, we got an alarm one night for a medic alert alarm, and so we go into this lady's house, and the medic alert, they give us the information for the key, where the key is located. So we let ourselves in, which is very dangerous to do, by the way. And we're searching through this lady's house, and we've searched through most of it. And so I get to one of the bedrooms that doesn't look like the master bedroom. It looks like just another bedroom. It's really, really old house, and to set the stage properly, it's got like the dressing mannequins that you sew around, and like to make dresses and stuff, and these big hats everywhere, and these creepy-eyed porcelain dolls, which just freak me out.
Yeah.
There's no reason you should have dolls. If you're a little girl, that's cool. Get you a doll. Get you a Barbie. But the old school porcelain dolls, like the spirit of cats get trapped in those things, okay? And cats are hateful little creatures. So, like, straight poltergeist information there. Stay away from the little doll. Anyway, there's these things all over the place. I come around the corner into this woman's bedroom and shine them a flashlight and, hey, EMS, ambulance service. And she sits straight up in bed, and she's got the face cream on and like the hair in curlers or a nightcap or something weird looking like that. She sits straight up like in the movies Dracula in a coffin and screams, ah! Just screams at me. I screamed back. Wanted to let her know that whether or not I was intimidated, she should be. And so I screamed back at her, and then you could just imagine the camera panning back and forth to each of our faces, just doing quick cuts where we're both screaming at each other. In the meantime, there's like half the fire department and my partners all running through the house trying to figure out what's going on, because, you know, we got a medic call, and as far as they know, I found a dead body on the floor or something like that, and we're all screaming at each other now, and it's just not pretty. So I wound up having to get her heart checked out because I gave her palpitations. She was fine. She rolled over on her pendant thing, and it hit the button, and which is cool. I mean, hey, grandma should have one of those. If grandma has any problem getting around, they need one of those. But This lady rolled over on it and pushed the button. Did not mean to depress it, but after what I did to her, she needed her heart checked out. So we had to check her heart out. That was kind of fun. Afterwards, it was kind of fun. At the time, I thought that I had just woken up, not of the living dead. But,
yeah, that's a little creepy. I mean, if I'm going into a house and there's mannequins and like figures in the dark and dolls don't do that much to me. The reason being is actually when I was younger at my grandma's house, because she sews dresses for dolls. She hand stitches everything. She makes them by hand. They're absolutely gorgeous, and I think she sells them as well now. It's like a little business she runs. But I grew up with that. Her house was filled with it, so like that. It doesn't bother me so much.
Let Granny know that that's just creepy. Clowns are also scary. Clowns and dolls, like clowns
I don't
are
like clowns
up here, and then dolls like right there.
And I get why dolls are scary because in high school, me and my friends, like, because my grandma would come up, and stay up here with us because she used to live at the beach. And so she'd come over here and stay for, a month, and then sometimes me and my friends would actually just go down to her, like, beach house and kind of just have, like, a weekend getaway. And my friends didn't like it. They're like, dude, this is wrong. This is just creepy. And I was like, it's nothing to me because, like, I practically know all these little guys.
They have names. That's Susie. That's Jessica. That's Veronica. No.
But like figures, that would creep me out because, actually, I'm a big Star Wars nerd, huge Star Wars nerd, and over the years of my collection of Star Wars stuff, I have acquired giant cardboard cutouts of various characters.
Mm-hmm.
One being Darth Vader, whom when I was younger, had set up in my room. And if you forget that that's set up in your room and it's dark and you go in your room and there's a giant figure, Darth Vader size, that's a little scary.
Someone who loathes you now step up and rhyme.
I am your father. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and insert this. We hadn't talked about it beforehand, but you did not like the video I put up recently where I said that people in matching uniforms, they're all dead in a movie. And my analogy was Star Wars, that all of the stormtroopers are in white, they're all dressed the same, they're toast. Mm-hmm. And when Luke Skywalker's like invincible. He puts on a rebel uniform, they shoot him down. He gets wounded and he gets almost frozen on Hoth. See, I know stuff too. I'm not just a pretty face. I've got some. He gets in trouble when he puts on a uniform that looks like everybody else's uniform. Han Solo, nothing. Like he has to pay up a bounty hunter. So he's like straight bad boy. Other than that, if you're in a matching uniform, and the apocalypse happened was my thing. But if you're in a movie and they try to put you in a uniform that looks like everybody else's uniform, you're gonna die, or a vast majority of you will die. It's not a good thing. Like the people in the credits at the end, they're the guys you didn't see in the movie, because the guys in the movie, toast.
And I get your reference in terms of movies and the main characters differentiating themselves by not wearing a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't like the Star Wars reference just because, I don't know, I felt like you were talking bad about Star Wars. And
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm not hating on Star Wars, although I'm pretty sure I can take most of the Star Wars fans in a one-on-one. That was a dig at Star Wars. You could use it for anything, but it's the one that fed my analogy well, because you have a character who at times wears a uniform and at times doesn't wear a uniform, and when he's in the uniform he gets in trouble. So it really was the perfect analogy for that.
And I get that. It works. However, I will say this. You said Han Solo doesn't wear a uniform and doesn't get in trouble. In The Empire Strikes Back, he never does wear a uniform. However, he does get captured by a bounty hunter and therefore put kryptonite.
Frozen in, yeah. So, okay. He had that going on before there was a question of a uniform. He never met uniform people before that. I have nothing for that. You are correct, sir. But I can't. I've been trying to, since we Skyped that, I've been trying to come up with another reference, and it can't. That was like the best one. Um,
I would say that it
let's
because you've
see.
talked about Walking Dead in that video, and then because I love that show. I'm a huge fan of that show. I think it starts next week if I'm not mistaken, and oh my god, I'm very excited.
Never
But
seen a single episode. Go ahead.
yeah, it's really good. But within that, the main character, he, which is Rick, he is a sheriff, and he in the first season or two he is wearing a sheriff's uniform, but he survives. So
But he's the
your analogy
sheriff.
doesn't apply there.
He's the
Oh,
sheriff. His uniform would be different than the deputies.
maybe he was a deputy sheriff then, because
Oh,
he
okay.
was wearing the same as his partners.
Okay, okay. Um,
But then again,
good
he's the only
point.
one wearing the uniform,
Go to
after the zombies come. So
like
try not to give spoilers
Saving
away.
Private Ryan. Most of the guys in Saving Private Ryan were in the same uniform, but
Mm,
like they were cool. What was it? Band of Brothers. They had the cards,
yeah,
the
and their
bad blood.
helmets.
What is that? What was it?
I've never seen Band of Brothers. I've really wanted to see that because I've heard it's amazing.
It was a good series. But they had a card in their helmet, which was
Mhm.
like Bravo Squad or whatever. And I'm gonna get this all wrong. Somebody, you're welcome to leave it in the chat below to fix this. But they like we're different, and they kind of were, and a lot of them survived. It's about their survival per se over
Yeah.
other units that did not or did not fare as well. Um, but yeah, if you're in just take stock of it next time you watch a movie and there's a fair portion of death in the movie. If you're in a similar uniform as someone else, you are liable for catching a bullet or having a car dropped on you, or maybe Gojira throws a building at you or something. I don't know.
Did you know they're remaking Godzilla?
That's so sad. Like Matthew Broderick shouldn't have remade it. And I didn't see the first one. I've never seen any of the classic horror, Creature from the Black Lagoon and
Wow.
the Blob and stuff like that. I've never seen any of those.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't know if I've seen most of those classics, but I mean, I've seen my fair share of classics. Thanks to Grandma. Grandma, you're awesome.
yeah, I saw
But
Tarzan because that's what came on Sunday afternoons that Mom liked to sleep to.
Tarzan.
Tarzan. They actually filmed a
Oh,
couple of episodes right up the road from where I live in Wakulla Springs. So
wow. That's
that's
cool.
pretty fun fact. Um,
Has you ever watched that show Grimm?
name it. What was it?
Grimm? It's on NBC.
No, TV. Not much on TV.
Well, it's filmed over here in Portland.
Cool.
So, yeah, it is pretty cool.
I saw Twilight.
That is in the Northwest, yes.
He's like,
I'm sorry you saw that movie.
my wife loves that movie. It is
Yeah,
good to make Mrs. Wackmed happy.
yeah. See, when the first Twilight came out, I was at college and I was working at a movie theater, and this was a big deal. I didn't know it was going to be a big deal because I'd never heard of this before, but it was a huge deal, and it was so busy. And since working at the movie theater, I got hooked up with free movies. I was like, well, let's go see this movie. So me and my lady, we went and saw the movie, and I was just like, this is stupid. It's the worst acting I've ever seen, and the story's dumb. It's really dumb. I don't understand. I don't get it. But I've only watched like the first one and parts of several later renditions. But
So I've seen them all. I've seen them all at the theater,
wow,
and I'm telling you, I've got good reason. However, I wow, I'm stuck in a memory. Hold on. Uh, the movies are not. I didn't think they were that bad. The acting is atrocious on the protagonist part. Bella, is it Kristen Stewart? Kirsten Stewart.
yeah, Kirsten
It's
Stewart.
it's atrocious. But from what
Yeah,
I understand, my wife's like the character in the book is written exactly that way. Like she plays the book character very well, very
yeah,
close to exactly how the book is written, as awkward, socially inept, an outcast, and I don't think most people want to see that kind of protagonist, and that's one of the reasons why she gets a lot of hate for it, even though she's apparently doing a good job. Any non-actress apparently could have played this role very well. The lore, the vampire lore, is not explained as well in the movie as it is in the book, and that's like the fun part of the story. And so I think if you'd have went deeper into the fun part of the story and less into the soap opera of the story, it would have been more fun for a lot of people. Now, the last one really made me very angry with the way the last movie played out, and I'm not going to spoil it. You really should see the last movie because there's some straight up cool epic battle scene.
Yeah.
But then the last 15 minutes of the movie just cut it off. Just cut it off because it'll piss you off if you see what the end of the movie is.
Wow.
So,
did it end according to the books?
Did it end according to no, it did not.
Wow. So that's
and I
probably
don't remember what the different. I mean, I could like totally spoil it, but
nah, I don't.
No.
Maybe I'll watch it sometime. Maybe the lady will make me watch it, but
I'm sure everyone here is a huge Twilight fan. So
yeah. So speaking of Twilight, WakMed finally played Battlefield.
Love that segue. Speaking of apples, here's an orange.
I couldn't do Twilight anymore. If you haven't turned it off and stuck through that, thank you, because Twilight's terrible. But WakMed finally played Battlefield after months and months, not only on this show, but outside the show, and through various Skype chats and Twitter remarks.
Dude, I get so much hate for not having played Battlefield. That's just...
I finally got him to download Battlefield 4, the beta, and he's played it.
I was actually playing it before we started this, and I'll probably play it once we cut this off, so...
Someone's a little hooked.
Yeah, kinda, I guess.
That's good. Just embrace it. Just
no. I feel like a deviant.
No, don't. Cause see, here's the thing: you can play Call of Duty and Battlefield and be happy.
No, you cannot.
Why not?
You can't. Because the expectation is so much. First of all, I'm not that great at Call of Duty. I get on, and if I'm only worried about killing in Battlefield, oh, it's on, baby. It's like 2.0 KD, rocking it hard. And I've only played, like maybe 3 or 4 hours. You have to lower your expectation of a reward system that Call of Duty gives you into the way Battlefield is formulated, because the formulation of your positive feedback is so much different. Very, very different. Because I think they want to maintain a slower paced game, there's less... like the feedback system is so different. That's what's very hard to get used to. Like, I'm shooting people like 4 or 5 extra times even after they're dead and cold, because I can't fully tell that they're dead. Like, it pops something up on the screen, but I don't know if that's from this guy or from something else. I'm not taking my eyes off target to read what it says. Whereas if I kill someone in Call of Duty, it flashes up a card, and if I get points for something else, it flashes up just a number. And so that, to me, the different feedback system is not... It's not good for fast-paced gaming. And so if you've got 2 or 3 people in front of you, it can get a little more hectic than it should have to, in my opinion. As far as the gameplay goes, it's smooth. Oh, silky smooth. The running through mud stuff, not there. Unless it should be there, like the LMG stuff. The sniper rifles, you can quickscope with them. I was doing it earlier tonight. However, you have to be on point, on target, and it has to be a very upper body shot. Yeah,
it definitely requires more skill to snipe in that game.
You have to be much higher up on the head, and it really makes me mad, because you get a guy that's like crawling across the ground. If you don't get a headshot on a guy crawling, Hitting the chest isn't there, so it's pretty much headshots only for somebody
Yeah.
crawling across the ground. It's going to be a 2-shot kill with a sniper rifle, and the reload time on a sniper is measured with a sundial. It's a long time. Another thing I really don't like about it is you pull the trigger on a sniper rifle, you either have to unscope
Yep.
or squeeze the trigger again to put another round in the chamber.
Yep.
Lost a lot of kills that way.
Yep.
The iron sights on the second gun that you get, the Scar, are trash.
Yeah.
And they occlude so much of your view. You can tell that the game is a beta, the beta that's out right now. So I'm actually looking forward to what the full version is like, because this game is playable. The beta is playable. Download it, give it a chance. The beta is playable.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get kill streaks, score streaks. The vehicles that I've been in are kind of wonky. I haven't made it to a helicopter yet. I don't know where the boats are. Haven't seen any boats.
Yeah, I'm actually going to talk about that, but
The biggest thing is, if you've never played Battlefield before, or if you're trying, if you're going to give it an honest try, first thing you should do is lower your expectation of the positive reward system, and understand that what you feel is a positive reward in Call of Duty is not the same type of reward system in Battlefield. The reward is the win, and that's pretty much it. The success of yourself and your team are the pinnacle, and if that's okay, once you say that's okay, then the second tier would be your KD and your ranking for individual match, and just how good a time you had, because the game does play very smooth, and the lack of there is not very much quickscoping because it is so difficult to get a one-shot kill.
yeah. For me, I like that, because when you get into Call of Duty and when quickscoping really became a thing, it's frustrating to me, because I don't need the game to be 100% realistic, because it is a game. But I like to have enough realism to where if I am going to be a sniper, it is challenging. Therefore, when you do get a kill, it's rewarding to get that kill, because I don't know, because you're a sniper. To me, that's how it works. A sniper is supposed to be played a little slower, more tactful, not per se campy, but to keep the distance between you and that other person, not to be able to run up and pull the trigger and you're gone. You know, and that's one of the things I like about Battlefield, not having the quickscope. Now, you talked about the reward system being a lot different, and completely agree with you, because Call of Duty, I've said this so many times before, it gives you that instant gratification, not only with the gameplay and the fast pace of it, but with the rewards, the kill streaks, being able to unlock things fairly easy and quickly. That's something they really strive to put in that game, hence the prestiges and things like that, to keep people playing. In Battlefield, though, and I know you'll experience this when you get the full game, there are a ton of unlockables. It takes time to get them, but there are a lot of different things you can unlock within your guns, within the class that you're using. It looks like they're also doing camos for your character as well as weapons, which the weapons is actually pretty new to Battlefield, having different camos, which is pretty cool. And that's where you're going to see some of that gratification. But I think the reason why that the kill streaks and things aren't there is to force you to work with a team, and to keep the balance within the game and really focus on that teamwork, because that's what Battlefield is. I mean, it's taking a step back, looking at the battlefield, having teamwork in the squads.
So another thing that you should that you should look into whenever you're measuring success is, if you have over a 20 kill game, you've done exceptional. Mm-hmm. Or you've done very, very well. If you get over a 25 kill game, you have done exceptional. If you've got a 2 KD or a 3 KD, you're probably only going to get 15 kills. That's not a bad thing, though. Like your domination matches, mine were running about 10 minutes.
Yep.
And the conquest matches are a type of match I'm still looking for positives in, because it seems like I'm running around in the middle of the wide open, not finding traffic. and finding traffic is something that I do like in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if the game doesn't offer that, then that's just a negative for that game for me. And the other thing that I'm trying to accept is that I cannot like the game for what it is, for something that it offers, but like other things about it and not either completely love or completely hate the game. And so this is the example I'll use. I really like playing domination on a small map in Battlefield and feel like there's no point where I'm getting rolled. Conquest, I feel like I'm always getting rolled. But in domination, I feel like I've always... Maybe I don't have a chance to win, but you're not going to make me go negative. You're not going to spawn trap me and spawn kill me. Unless I choose to be spawned into the fire. In Call of Duty, I can't guarantee that. Like, half the matches you jump into, if you're jumping into them in the middle, you're getting rolled. You're getting destroyed. I don't have to put up with quickscoping because it's not there in Battlefield 4. If I get knifed, it's usually because I did not check my flank, and it's a straight reminder you played poorly.
Yeah.
Because I know I played poorly, or I did not play to the biggest advantage that I could have, that's more of a positive for me than just being panic knifed.
Yeah.
Plus, when you save a teammate from getting knifed, when you see the guy go up and start knifing the guy and you splatter his brain on the side of a Connex box, that makes you happy.
Yeah, I think that's one of the positives about Battlefield is, again, you don't have that instant gratification that Call of Duty is going to bring you. That's one of the big differences in the games and why they're so different and why it's very hard to compare the two. But Battlefield offers a lot of really rewarding things. Like you just said, WakMed, stopping someone from getting knifed is awesome. For me, it's getting that really long distance snipe. It's awesome. Because one of the things, when you play some of the larger maps, you have to take into effect the Coriolis, I believe it's pronounced, the Coriolis effect on bullets, because bullets will drop over distance. So having to actually think about these things and make sure you're on target, and when you get it, it's so gratifying and it's so cool to get that. Also, when you like shoot down a vehicle like a chopper, like actually in the beta, when we were playing WakMed, I found some sort of grenade launcher and I took down a chopper. It was freaking amazing, and that will be in a video coming up soon. But there's a lot of great things in there.
Video.
What?
Don't listen to me in that video, because that night I was very.
I don't think I was recording dialogue.
I
think it was just straight gameplay.
I raged so hard that night. It was not fair. Bondfire is a really awesome individual to take that kind of heat, because I was laying down nothing but venom spew.
He was hating. He was being a hater.
I was being
he was showing the Call of Duty fanboy in him.
I was straight hating on the. And you know what? I still prefer Call of Duty.
And that's
fine. This game is cool too. This game's playable.
And here's one thing you have to remind yourself of too, is on next-gen consoles it is going to be on a bigger scale. So Conquest, I think, will be a little bit easier for you because there will be more players out and about doing things. But again, Conquest is a much slower game type, and for people who love Call of Duty and love that fast-paced action, that transition is going to be tough. I completely agree. I understand. But there's other game types out there, and one of the popular ones is Rush, and it's similar to a search and destroy game type, for the fact that there's 2 points within the map that you have to go and blow up if you're on offense. Obviously, you have to protect them if you're on defense. So and like the point of what?
Demolition?
Sure, demolition. That's a great example because there is continuous respawns. And after you get those 2 points, if you've blown them up, it moves down the map even more. So it's the full scale of the map, but it's cut into sections. So you start in the beginning section, it's pretty sizable. After those 2 have been blown up, you get pushed back if you're on defense, and they move to the next 2 points. And you keep going, and I think there's a set of like 4 throughout the map. So it's a pretty fun game type. It can be a little campy at times if you're on, when you're on defense trying to, just protect them. So But it is a fun game type, especially when you're on some large maps that offer vehicles, because that's going to give you different bit of gameplay. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is, now that we've played the beta, what are some of the things that you are looking forward to being in the final game?
And one more thing I want to hit before I say that, C4 is insanely explosive. C4, if you thought it was OP in Call of Duty, oh man. It's not really OP, it's actually pretty accurate. But if you're throwing, a sandwich-sized piece of C4, that's a lot of explosive. And you can't throw it very far in Battlefield. However, it'll take out a wall. It's accurate, it's true to form. It'll take down a lot. And that's really cool. You get up high and throw some C4 down low. Kaboom! It's fun. There's different kinds of fun stuff. What am I looking forward to in the full version of the game? Because I will get the full version of the game. I won't get it. That's a victory. I will not get it for the 360.
Good for you.
What am I going to get in the full? What do I look forward to? I look forward to fully understanding how to work the menu system.
Yeah.
That menu system it's just not good. It doesn't have a good user interface. It does not lend itself well to explanation. And I don't like the way the tiers are set up. So learning how to navigate that system to be more efficient is one of the things I'm looking forward to. I don't know what I'm looking forward to because I don't feel like I fully comprehend the beta. And I want to be objective and fair about it. I mean, I can rant. You want to hear me rant? I can rant. Ask Bondfire. I can rant. It makes me so angry. I'm looking forward to being able to get good, clean shots on target that give me hit markers. I'm looking forward to playing a game that does not have 12-year-old kids trying to quickscope and either bringing down my team or just pissing me off on the other side. I'm looking forward to having different types of game modes, because Halo 4 has Ricochet, which you brought up recently. They had King of the Hill, which Hardpoint is an integration of now. They've got a couple of other game modes besides Slayer, and that you can do stuff that Call of Duty just doesn't offer. Now, Ghosts is bringing in 7 new game types, so maybe I'll get to see that there. But like Demolition, where there's 4 different bomb sites, or 4 different sets of bomb sites, that sounds like fun. That you're explaining it, and I'm sitting here thinking, wow, that's really cool. I could be in for that. The way that it's more based on my skill on the sticks, my intelligence of this is how I think a soldier should act, and this is what I think he should be rewarded for in the avenue of getting a kill. That's more rewarded in Battlefield. It's much more rewarded, because Call of Duty, you just run to the middle and hope that you're the one that comes out on top of the gunfight, and then start calling in stuff. In Battlefield, it makes you use your brain.
Yeah.
You have to stay in tune. Now, I haven't had the big team interaction yet. I want to have some big team interaction. That seems like fun. This is ground war. It's an arms race. It's whoever's first to the kill streaks. And, if you've got an awesome Slayer on one side and derps on the other side, then you're going to feed him his VTOL or his dogs or whatever, and everybody's just going to have a bad experience. But since those things aren't in Battlefield, then one guy doing really well doesn't necessarily mean that his team is going to do really well. So I'm looking forward to that kind of balance in Battlefield 4 on the XBone.
Yeah, that's one of the appealing things about the game. And again, I'm not taking anything away from Call of Duty, because I've been playing Call of Duty for longer than WakMed. I mean, I've been playing the series since Call of Duty 2. I mean, long time. I'm a big fan of this series, and definitely am excited for Call of Duty Ghosts. Don't get me wrong, but what Battlefield appeals so much to me is some of those things you explain. I mean, just the balance there. To me, it requires more strategy. The various random different things you can do. I mean, it really has more options and gives you more freedom to just go do whatever, and that appeals to me. It's a nice change of pace from Call of Duty, and that's one of the things I love about Battlefield.
It's more relaxing. You can either engage your brain. Sorry, I'm picking my face. You can either engage your brain and try to get strategic and skillful and deep into it, or you can just go post up and chat and chill and talk. Or you can do anything in the middle. And now it's like when I play Call of Duty, I've got to go hard in. I don't have to use my brain, but I got to go hard in. I got to go, always on the sticks, always on the this, that, and the other. I mean, you die in Battlefield, and it's like, okay, I'm going to spend 45 seconds going through these menus, picking a gun, picking the attachment that I want. Oh, that's awesome. You can change the way the gun loads out in the game. Like,
yeah,
you don't
really
like the
like
fact that you put the red dot sight on, and you don't like it, take it off on the next death. Take it off. Spend 45 seconds doing that. It's okay. Just chill. Just chill.
Yeah. I really enjoy that. Now, you talked about the game types, and there will be more game types. And one of the things I thought that was really interesting that Battlefield 4 is going to offer over Battlefield 3 is, they announced two additional game types. The names escape me, unfortunately. I can't remember what they are. I know one was basically your search and destroy, where you get one life. There's a bomb site. You have to go, destroy. And the thing that's different about that, because you do have defibrillators in the game. Am I saying that right?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Wanted to make sure I got it right.
Defibrillators, yes.
So you have defibrillators in the game, and if you're able to actually revive one of your guys after he dies real quick, he can still be alive and be in the game. So it's like search and destroy with a little twist. And it's 5-on-5 in that, which I thought was really interesting, because that's very small in terms of Battlefield. Very small. I think that's going to be where they're going to try to be more competitive. But there's also a different game type where there's one bomb that spawns randomly throughout the map, and you have to bring it to the enemy's bomb site. And it's basically a battle for that bomb, and you have to carry the bomb, so you can see who's got the bomb, so you have to track that person down, kill him, steal the bomb, and take it. So it's kind of a combination between like capture the flag, dominate, demolition, a bunch of different game types. Yeah. And that game type actually looks really cool to me. And so you're going to definitely find more game types of Battlefield 4, the full version, and I'm very excited to see how you respond to those different game types, because I like them, and I'm looking forward to them, and it's nice to finally have you on board to just be open to it. You don't have to like it, just you're open to it, and that's what I appreciate.
Yeah, I like that you can also change your gun the way it shoots, just like you should be able to.
Yes.
Any gun that comes, they don't make an M16 that you can't change between burst fire and fully automatic. The guns aren't made like that anymore. Why is that an option I have to select? Like, where did you find this old school gun that doesn't have the ability to change the way the spring mechanism works with the firing pins? So that, and actually I wound up using the single fire option most of the time, just because it conserves ammo, it reduces recoil. It's just a better way to do it on my assault rifle.
Yeah, and when I'm playing a bigger map as well, I tend to do that too. You want to be more accurate, because I feel like in Battlefield you really feel the recoil in the guns, like especially if you're just holding down that trigger. It's a lot more difficult to maintain aim, as opposed to Call of Duty, in my opinion. Now, a couple things I'm looking forward to in the final version of the game, obviously, is I would expect in even the final version of the Xbox 360 version that the textures are going to load properly.
Oh, that is...
It's very frustrating to not have the textures and everything load up properly, because if you're using the gun like the Scar and you don't have the red dot sight yet, and you're using that terrible iron sight, if it doesn't load up, you can't see anything.
No, you can't. So, I've got a bunch of kills where you can't. So the holes in the middle of the round parts of the circle, Like everybody should be familiar with what a Scar's iron sight looks like. It's not too different. It's a little thicker metal, so it stands in the way a little more. But when you pull up the iron sights on the Scar, there's just a block. It's just a square, opaque, no visibility block. And the characters are pretty small in Battlefield, so you have to wait for the whole character to disappear behind that block and just start squeezing the trigger, waiting for the hit markers to come up.
And
I'm
pray to
so
God to get
glad I
lucky.
finally got that over that. And the other thing is, I've actually had it not render enemies, especially on the rooftop.
Yes,
the domination
that's a
rooftop.
big problem.
At distance, it won't render the enemy right now. Not
Yeah.
all the time. It's a sometimes kind of deal. And
Yeah.
what I've noticed here today is that when you join a game, it will not give you a gun or let you turn left or right
Oh, for like a couple seconds.
for a few seconds, and you can
Yep.
actually die before you can do anything about it.
Yeah, I've experienced that as well.
That's not cool. But it's a beta. It's a beta. You're playing a game before it comes out.
Yeah. Another thing I'm hoping they add some more flexibility to the controls. The controls compared to Battlefield 3, if you play Battlefield 3, you know the controls. You can modify it a little bit to make it how you want, but the controls are there. To me, they're a little different than Call of Duty. When you hop in Battlefield 4, they're much changed. They're like the default on Call of Duty, which who plays with that anymore? Nobody. So having to be able to customize a little bit more in-depth customization, I think would be awesome, as well as the vehicles. The vehicles in Battlefield 3, to go backwards and forwards is the triggers, just like a driving game. Very simple. And to shoot your gun, you use the bumpers. That's fine. That's what people are used to. Now in Battlefield 4, to move forward in a vehicle, you have to use the stick to go forwards or backwards. I really dislike that.
For all movement. I'm okay with it.
So I dislike it. I really dislike it. So I'm hoping that they at least give you the option to change that for the vehicles. And maybe they do in the beta, and I just haven't played with it. But
there's no reason that games now should not have fully mappable controls.
yeah,
There's no getting in the way with the amount of space that's available inside the hardware. To program a controller is done on the inside part of the game. That's why you can change the little bit that you can change now. To change the mapping is not that difficult. It shouldn't take a programmer a solid day to write code for full mapping customization of your controller. Mapping being assigning what button does what command is executed on which button being utilized. That's a little aggravating. It is. But I switched back to default to play one in the chamber and stuff like that. So
I guess I do the same when you're
the
playing
vehicles.
those
I
game
guess would be the worst part, because there's a lot of people that love to play just for the vehicles in Battlefield.
Oh yeah, there's people that are really good in the vehicles. I'm not one of them. I've never been good in the vehicles. However, I find it fun to get in the vehicles with a friend and try to do work. Okay then.
Was a good enough one. Whatever.
It was good enough.
It was good enough. Okay.
But
cool.
Another thing I really want to experience that I'm sad we don't get in the beta is the boats, because that's one of the things they're marketing this game on. Boat warfare. It's huge. It's something really exciting. PC players get it. Console players don't. That's unfortunate.
Console players don't in the full game, or just in the beta?
No, I'm sure they do in the full game, but just the beta they don't.
Okay.
So to me that's unfortunate, because you're still playing the same level. Why can't we have a couple, like, even if they're just wave runners, just let me go run around on a wave runner. I don't even care.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is a Battlefield 3 guy, and he loves he wasn't running fraps one night, and put a couple of C4s or one, I don't know, C4 on a four-wheeler, and the guy on the four-wheeler wound up ramping it into the helicopter, and he blew up the helicopter with the C4 on the four-wheeler. Like, that stuff's not in this beta, but stand by. I'm looking forward to some silliness like that.
Yeah, you
And
can do all kinds of crazy stuff like that.
so what it really seems like is that if you get into these 30-minute matches, you can spend time just doing stupid stuff, cool
Hmm.
stuff, but just
Yeah.
like that is not the objective. If you've got a bunch of squad mates to do that with.
Yeah, that's exactly, and I
So
think that's a huge part of the game that's fun and enjoyable that people like because sometimes the matches are so big you could just run off and do your own thing in a corner of a map and no one would know the difference. And to me, that's fun. Yeah, you probably should be playing the objective and stuff, and I get that, but having the freedom to do whatever you want is fun.
yeah.
It's an appeal to a lot of people.
You know something that's weird, and I'd like to move on, but
Yeah.
there are parts of the map that are never used in a game. Like
Hmm.
maybe not in every game, and all they're utilized by some people sometimes, but the back edges of the map are never used. If you go into a Call of Duty game and lay down somewhere, you're probably going to die within 2 minutes on any map in any location. In Call of Duty, within 2 minutes, somebody will come to that location. It may be a teammate, but if it's not an enemy, so you're going to die. Somebody will come to that location as well inside of 2 minutes on every map in Call of Duty. In Black Ops 2, anyway, maybe there's a different map, but in the maps that I've experienced on Battlefield 4, there are some places people just never go to.
Yeah.
So, random question time.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's boot it up.
Okay, so this comes off of discussion off of Twitter the other night that Maze Man and I'm sorry, Punk Man, I forgot your name for a minute. Punk Man and I were having. I was trying to find, give me a good song in my head because what's on the radio right now is terrible, and we got into a discussion of who are great people, great artists, great music. Who's the greatest artist of all time?
Wow.
Not for their contribution, for Bonfire Smiles. Like, which artist is the best make Bonfire happy of all time artist?
So like my favorite artist of all time.
Right. Not for
For
their
me.
contribution. Like,
My personal preference.
your personal preference for the music they made that you like.
Wow, I might need a second on this one.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I'll go ahead and give mine because it's not very fair that I had more time to think about it because it's a big question. Iron Maiden, favorite
Okay.
band of all time, and most of their stuff came out before I was born. They're insanely popular overseas. If you haven't heard Iron Maiden, it's metal, so it usually doesn't ever get on the radio. Run to the Hills album, no, Number of the Beast was the name of the album. And don't let that fool you. It's not satanic or anything like that. But that's in my opinion their best album. Their most popular song is probably Power Slave. It's got some really awesome guitar licks. Their bassist Steve Harris, I think, is acclaimed by many to be one of the top 3 bassists in all the world and of all time. And that, a lot of people say he's the best. He's at least in the top 3. Better than Flea. Couple of other. I can't think of any other bassists off the top of my head. It's kind of sad because I played bass. He's the guy that played for Rush. Better than him, and he's actually touted as one of the top 5 bassists in all the world. But Iron Maiden does it for me. I can put in Iron Maiden anytime. It's hard, fun, good, hard guitar riffs, good thick leads, and pretty cool singing. That's not crappy Guns N' Roses bunk. If you say Guns
Okay.
N' Roses, I'm cutting the podcast off right now.
No,
Thank you.
I'm not. It's the only thing that comes to mind without having to actually look through all my music and just think about all the great bands that I enjoy and stuff like that. But I'm gonna go with Blink 182.
Okay.
And the reason for that is one, Travis Barker is one of the best drummers all time, in my opinion. I think he's fantastic. I love the guy, and just their music that they've done. I've been a fan of it for so long. I know the majority of their songs. I can, actually songs I know the lyrics to too, which is weird because I usually don't know lyrics to songs. And it's just, for me, it's feel-good music, and it's music I kind of grew up with, in a sense that, like, my younger punk days, if you will, as a younger skating Bondfire, that was what was going down, and that's what I enjoyed and listened to. So I'm gonna go with Blink-182.
We want you to be Blink-182 fans, because always I know you'll be at my show, watching, waiting. I don't even know what commiserating means, but if that means blowing up the chat on other podcasts, I appreciate it. So, cool, thumbs up. Blink-182 is a good band.
Yeah.
They're still around, are they? They're still making music?
I think so. I know the guys are. I know they've kind of went their own separate ways to do their own separate projects. Like the lead singer did Angels and Airwaves. The bassist and Travis Barker did Plus 44, I think is what it's called. So I know they've done some side projects by themselves and kind of did their own thing. I think they had a reunion tour or something like a reunion tour recently. But
cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I just they're good stuff, man. It's my type of punk music, if you will.
So it's hard to limit it. You want to throw out some honorable mentions?
I've always liked AC/DC, classic stuff.
Ooh.
Fantastic. Really?
They've got moments.
Yeah.
But on the whole, who else?
Okay.
Like I'd rather listen to Metallica than AC/DC.
I love Metallica. I don't know
Pre-Black
if
or post-Black album, or does it matter?
Probably post. I like more their newer stuff, not their newest stuff, but a few of their songs post. Even though before it's still good as well. It's just a little bit different.
I know there are people out there right now that think An Angel just lost its wings. I don't. I like post-Black album stuff too. So.
Also, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I've always liked their music. I know you're talking about Flea and all that, but there's a select group of their songs that I find enjoyable.
I don't. Like maybe 3. Other Side, Under the Bridge. Couple of them, but on the whole, it's just aggravating. The guy's voice is just like, if it wasn't for Flea, the band would suck. Period.
Their drummer looks like Will Ferrell. I've always noticed that, and I thought that was very weird. Yeah. Maybe not so much anymore, but...
Flea looks like a guy from Back to the Future.
Yes. I know exactly who you're talking about. That's weird. I would say another band that maybe isn't as well known, but I love almost like all of their music is The Used. They're kind of... I hesitate to say screamo rock, but they do a little bit of screaming as well as great singing in their music, and it's a little more hardcore, if you will, but I love it. And like when I was in a band, we tried to play music kind of like that, so I can relate to that.
Screaming has its place. I can't wrap up on it as a whole. I think Linkin Park, even though I'm not a huge fan of Linkin Park, I think they do a pretty good balance between melody, lyrics that are understandable, and then every once in a while to express the point of the song or a point in the song, you get some, what was that? And it works. It works. They do a good job of it. Twist on the random question, what artist did the most for or against music?
As a whole?
Like either contributed the most to their genre or the most to music. And I'm saying in the 1900s to 2000, not like Mozart,
1990s to 2000.
something relevant you may or may not hear on the radio. Not Bach did really good stuff for Baroque period or whatever. You need another minute? Let me go first.
If you got an answer, go ahead, because I'm kind of tossed between 2.
So I'll pick a couple. Alabama made really good country music that was true to itself and true to what they did and true to country music for a really long time. They legit have tons of hits. They legit have music that is enjoyable and better than most stuff on the radio now. It's just older. What Metallica did for music, they get a thumbs up for. What Kurt Cobain and
Nirvana?
Nirvana. What Nirvana did for grunge, they get a thumbs up for. I can't stand it. I don't like anything that they did. They get a thumbs up for it, though. What Master P did for rap. And you can argue other artists there in that same time period, that's fine. Master P's the one that I was down with. And what Master P did for rap, thumbs up. I can't think of any more off the top of my head. What Garth Brooks did for country music, you suck, dude. I love all your music, but what you did to country music sucks.
I was actually going to say, I was tossed up between Foo Fighters and Nirvana.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Nirvana, obviously, they weren't around that long, but they made such a huge impact on the music industry as a whole. And Foo Fighters, just because they've really been around a long time, and their music is exceptional. And I really feel like they stay true to themselves, and that's something you don't find within music very often, is staying true to yourself. I can tell you who isn't contributing to the music world in a long-lasting way, and I would say that's most of modern-day music. I mean, you look at all these single artists that are just their fads, and I mean, they have the top Billboard #1 song for X amount of weeks, but that song and what they do isn't changing music, and it's not something that's going to be looked back like, say, a Led Zeppelin. Look what they did, or the Beatles even. You know, those types of things.
Oh God, don't do the Beatles. Beatles are terrible.
You can't deny what they did.
Give a thumbs up if you can't stand the Beatles. Give a thumbs down if you like the Beatles. On my video, don't do this to Bondfire. He didn't deserve what I'm calling for, because I know most people like the Beatles, not this guy.
I actually wrote a huge paper on the Beatles.
Yellow Submarine, and then burn the rest. All of it.
I don't like a ton of their music either, but you can't deny what they did.
Yeah, I know. And that's fine. That was the question, so that's there. Beach Boys, baby. Jimmy Buffett all day long.
Oh, love me the Beach Boys. I actually have their greatest hits album.
Kenny Chesney can go jump off a bridge.
I don't do that.
Keep Alan Jackson away from Jimmy Buffett and let him get stoned by himself, okay? The music is better without Alan Jackson. Only guy I know of that had the huevos to say hoochie coochie in a song, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fun fact also, as far as music goes, the song Lightning Crashes, what's the name of that song? Lightning Crashes came out in the 90s. You know the song I'm talking about? Lightning Crashes and Old Mother Dies.
Again, I don't do the lyrics so well.
Oh, yeah. It's the only song in all of music to have the word placenta in the song. So, that's gross, but that's a fun fact. Or it was 5 years ago. Maybe somebody else has some more placenta-laden lyrics that I'm just unaware of, because I don't keep up with Afterbirth that much.
Let's not. Let's not. No more placenta. Oh, I'm done with that.
Thank you. It's time for a new topic, and so our new topic is...
Speaking of time,
this segue brought to you by the Samsung Smile smartwatch. I don't think Samsung makes it, but...
No, Samsung doesn't make that. Samsung does actually make the Samsung Galaxy smartwatch, which will work with your Samsung Galaxy phone. So, while we were in pre-production of the great podcast we're giving you now, WakMed sent me a video of this smartphone. And it was a smartphone that is made of a bendable LED screen. And it does all the great stuff you would expect a smartphone to do. And it was pretty cool. And kind of got us thinking, are smartwatches a thing? And then I enlightened his world and showed him that yes, there is a smartphone available. It is the Samsung Galaxy Watch. It can do these things. What do you think about it?
You know, I'm kind of torn because all tech is good tech, or all ability and accessibility. That's kind of cool. I don't care. My phone can do all of those things, and because it's in my pocket, I don't have to worry about smashing it on stuff. Like, that's the one thing I'm gonna see is that you're going to. I would tear this up. Like, I can't even keep a wristwatch. My wife has bought me two in the 11 years we've been married, and I can't. I don't know where they are. I don't know where they are. And these things are they're pretty big. I mean, they're the size of a smartphone. Maybe not the size of my Note.
I would say like
they're not
like
that big, but
no, they're not that big.
They're I mean, they're probably as wide as an iPhone. Maybe
No, I'd say a little, not as wide, but still definitely wide. I mean, it's
bulky.
pretty thick. I would say put like a wristband, like a sweat wristband on your wrist. It's probably about that thick.
I'm trying to figure out how to make this thing pop out. Open image in new tab. There we go. So now it's over your face. Well, it was over your face.
Oh, good. That's right. No one wants to see my face anyways.
It doesn't work.
That's a lot you do. You do.
So there's how it rolls out, and your wrist goes inside the thingamajigabobber. Technical term.
Very nice. Very nice.
But your wrist actually goes inside that circle part, and you wear it on your wrist. I think it bumps into too much stuff. It tears up too easy.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
It's gonna have to have some awesomely rugged durability to last in my world.
Yeah, I'd say it's applicable to a lot of people.
And much more than waterproof. I mean, shockproof. Like, I would never wear it to work, so that's not going to do me any good. My phone can go in my pocket, though. If the advantage of it being on your wrist doesn't overcome the cumbersomeness and burden of it being on your wrist, my prediction, I don't know. Now, did you want to play the flip side of that?
Sure. I was gonna say my take on it real quick is I think it's cool. I mean, I love tech. I love technology. I embrace it. I'm fascinated by it. It'd be cool to have one of these, especially the LED version, because you'll notice with the Samsung Galaxy Watch, it looks like it has a wristband, and then the face of the watch, like the bulk part, that's where all the tech is. So it's not like the LED version where it's like the whole thing seems to be, the screen. This one it's like your typical watch. It's basically having a watch with a touch screen on the face. So that one might be a little bit more durable. That might be something you could wear to work. And I think it'd be cool to have. I probably would never buy one just because my question is there a market for it? I don't see it. I don't see a huge market for this. I don't see a huge use for it because how it gets its Wi-Fi, how it gets its information and data, it's hooking up via Bluetooth with your phone, and that's how it's going to work and talk. I don't know. I don't see a point. Though it's a great concept, and I think it'd be cool to have. Just to have. I don't see a market for it.
So like that one, the one where you have your phone and this standalone Bluetooth item is the wristwatch part. That to me does seem more applicable. Yeah, I could do that, but it's gonna need more. I'm gonna need my phone to be Wi-Fi, and it's gonna have to feed more information into my watch than just the time and the ability to talk on the phone. Dick Tracy was an awesome movie, the old Chroma Color with Madonna, and I don't remember who the star of it was, but it's all like an 80s movie. Check that out, dude. Throwback to that awesome movie. Dick Tracy talks into his watch, and I want to say that was like the first technology of that type. That was like oh wow, we'll never get there that we finally gotten to, and that was like the premiere of that thought.
Yep.
And then you had Knight Rider, where David Oslov actually had a wristwatch where he could communicate with Kit, his car, and that was cool. But that was definitely a straight takeoff of Dick Tracy's ability to talk to his police chief or whatever. So having that ability to communicate with your wristwatch is a nostalgic, definitely, I'd love to have it. If it's an option that doesn't cost me very much and it does all these really cool things, I could get down with it as long as I can do it without tearing it up. Like, my phone was $300 with a 2-year subscription to Verizon.
Yep.
I'm not paying $500 with a 2-year subscription to somebody to have a $200 wristwatch that I'm going to smash on the counter or the wall or just drop.
Well, let me enlighten your world here, because the Samsung Galaxy Watch is $150.
Okay.
And it can.
Is that
you can view?
Is that with the contract or standalone?
It doesn't come with a contract.
Okay.
Because all its power and abilities work with connecting to your phone.
Okay.
I don't know if it's via Bluetooth. I would imagine it's via Bluetooth. That's how you hook up things.
Yeah.
But the watch does do other things besides tell time and the weather. I mean, you can look at text messages. You can see you're getting a phone call. I would assume if you had your earpiece with the watch, with the phone, you could just press answer on the phone and you're talking on your earpiece. It all syncs together. I think you can view your calendar, see what's coming up, and emails as well. So the data you're going to get, you would be able to get through like a 4G type network. So you wouldn't necessarily need Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is always better, of course. But so I mean, if the 150 price point that's actually not too bad, but I don't know if it justifies what it does. Because like I said, it's nothing your phone can't do.
So if it's Bluetooth, then you can program software. There are plugins available for software ports, and multiple different types of phones should be able to talk to it. I would imagine right now that would be Samsung exclusive. If it's a Samsung, since the watch is a Samsung product, right?
It is.
So,
I know it. I'm pretty sure it can work with any phone, though.
So it should probably, in the future, if not this one, in the future they would work with any phone because Bluetooth has that ability, as does Wi-Fi. That would be cool. $150. What do you guys think? Do you care about the wristwatch? Would you get one? It's really cool technology. If money was not an object, I'd have one. Just because. Not for status symbol, but for why not? I don't have to pull my phone out of my pocket. Text message. Yeah. Bondfire says, let's play Battlefield. Okay.
And he's on in 20.
I'm on in 20.
And then that's what you'd say to your watch. You're like, respond, on in 20. I don't know if it can do that, but that would be freaking sweet. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know if you guys think that this is something that we will see in the future and will be a product that will stay, because that's what I'm curious about. I don't think it will. I think it'll be a fad, but I could be wrong, and maybe I'll have one at some point in the future. Who knows? We'll see.
What I'm also hoping is a fad is what's going on as the subject matter of this week's Feed the Fire.
Bum, bum, bum.
I would really like to apologize for everybody for not getting to be able to do Feed the Fire from last week. We ran into a time crunch, and there was a couple of topics that just got left out, and Feed the Fire was one of them. I'm sorry. It's usually something we put towards the end of the show anyway. That's what we're planning on. Feed the Fire this week. Is there anything going on in U.S. politics? Gee, I don't know. I'd tell you, but the government websites are shut down. Ha, ha, ha.
Oh, snap.
Snap. So the government shutdown. Do you know how it works?
I know parts of it. For example, like I know that the politicians still get paid. Certain federal employees don't get paid. It's called furlough. That they can pass back pay, which I believe was passed, if I'm not mistaken. And national parks and all that stuff that matters yet kind of doesn't, still you can't do.
So my mom and dad and grandparents are in Hawaii right now. There's a national park in Hawaii they can't go to
Mm.
because the government shut down, the park shut down.
Yeah.
This was a huge problem for World War II vets trying to get into, like old people don't just get up and say, hey, I want to go to a park and go do it. So, and I'm not bagging on it. I'm just saying that, your day is more difficult to get through because of your age, and these parks are shut down immediately. And they can't get into them. So what the shutdown is, the Republicans said the Republicans specifically in the House of Congress said, we want Obamacare, the American Health Care Act, out of legislation. We're not going to fund it. We're not going to give money towards it. We're not going to vote for any money to go that way, which was the extension that had to be voted on. I'm not sure exactly how that extension worked. If you're looking for pure, positively correct politic news, it's not here. This is just general knowledge. Congress said, no, we're not going to fund it. When they said, no, we're not going to fund it, Harry Reid and a majority of the Senate said, we're not going to fund anything but that. So they're diametrically opposed to what they're going to do. The president said, I will veto anything but you passing the American Health Care Act funding. So they're kind of at an impasse. Now, Congress said, we're not going to do that. We will not pass money for the American Health Care Act. But here's what we will do. We'll pass these smaller bills, and we'll say you can still pay this right now, and you can still pay that right now. You can keep the parks open. You can keep these employees on payroll. You can keep attending to these needs of the American people. And they laid out several bills to do just that, to fund some things but not others, and the not others being the Obamacare or Mitt Romney care, or whichever you want to call it. So the Senate says, we're not going to play ball with you. And there's fault on a lot of people's part here. First of all, Congress is saying, we're not going to do that. Work with us. You're saying work with us, but what you're also really saying is we're not going to do that. So you have both sides saying we refuse to come to any kind of work with the American Health Care Act. And now that's not completely true. Congress tried to do a little bit. Anyway, long story short, the Senate says we're not going to do anything except full funding. And Congress is saying, let's take this one step at a time, which I think is the more correct approach. They're saying, look, we don't like the way this is passed. The law has actually changed since it was passed by executive order, which means it's not what Congress and the Senate voted on in the first place. It's actually a different law. There are differences to it now that the president executed, some would say illegally, after it was put into law. Questionably, if not illegally. The thing is this, the American Health Care Act, people are finding out now that you actually have to pay for it. You still have to pay for insurance. You have to buy it from the government, so it's not free health care. And when you go to the doctor, that part's going to be free, but you still have to pay Congress your money for the health care. And it's just causing all kinds of problems, and I would say that the problems that it's causing should give evidence that it needs to be reviewed. Suspended and then reviewed, if nothing else. I don't want it. Personally, it's going to be bad for my job.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be bad for my kids and us as a public. However, at least suspend it long enough to review it. And the Democrats aren't going to do that because they know they can't get it passed again without the supermajority they had in the first place. And the Republicans are afraid to let it go into effect because we've never put an entitlement program into effect in this country and then took it back. And so it's just this huge fiasco. Why is the government shut down? Because you got a bunch of snot-nosed kids up there in the White House and in Washington, not in the White House, but in Washington, who are wanting to argue with each other and get into a get to a contest of who's more important. So
Yeah. So my take on all that, um, I think what frustrates me the most out of all that is the fact that both sides just try to make each other look bad, and to me that's what this is about. One's trying to make the other look bad, and in doing so, in having a quote unquote childish fight, you're not accomplishing anything. And that's what you're voted in to do. That's what you should do. Yet you're not. You're too worried about your reputation.
Yep.
And that's frustrating. And what I find also frustrating is that you have all these people that complain about what's going on, yet they're part of, they may or may not, but they're probably part of the reason why some of these things are happening, because everyone's got to vote, whether you choose to vote or not. It has an impact, and now you're seeing it. So it's very frustrating, and I think we should do next week a Feed the Fire and a little bit more about Obamacare.
I'd have to look more stuff up, and I hate it. I hate having to look up politics because it just makes me an angry individual. But
I know. I just want to know how it works, not politics. Just how the law works.
How it works. I'll definitely have to look up, because it's only like it's a several thousand-page document.
Oh no, I know, it's absolutely huge, and yeah. But how about this? Because I didn't know that there were some changes to it than what it previously did. So you could fuel the fire with those changes next week.
Also, before we completely leave the topic, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Senator Ted Cruz, or Congressman Ted Cruz, whoever he is. Now, hear me out before you rail on me. The guy's getting hate for standing up and talking for 21 hours. He's the guy that stood on the House floor and said, I vow to talk until I can't talk anymore about the fact that we need to get rid of Obamacare. I was like, you know what? This is a play. This is a move, and he's not the first one to do this, and he's not the longest speaker ever to have done this. So don't think he invented this. He talked for 21 hours on one topic. Any commentator watching this podcast right now, can you talk for 21 hours on any topic? You pick the topic.
Wow.
21 hours.
So, literally 21 hours straight.
It was 21 hours, and it was actually 25 hours. 21 hours of it was his talking. 4 hours of it was people asking questions. So the way it works is this. Until he sits down, he still has the floor. And his buddies would come up to him and say, can I get Mr. Cruz to allow me to ask him a question? And he says, yes, you can ask me a question. But he still has to stand up. Mm-hmm. Now, somebody else gets in there and asks a 45-minute question, giving him a chance to drink some water, eat a sandwich, whatever, rest his vocal cords. And that's the way it worked. Is he got 4 hours worth of breaks from people throwing him a bone. And there were actually, from what I understand, I don't know this to be completely true, but from what I understand, there were people that asked him other silly questions like, how long are you going to talk?
Yeah,
are you ever going to shut up? Kind of things. But the guy, not only did he talk for 21 hours, you say, but he didn't talk just on one topic. He rolled Dr. Seuss into the context of the American Health Care Act, where he could read it to his kids as a good night story. If you have an agenda to add some stuff to your discussion, you think about that ahead of time. Being able to incorporate a bedtime story for his kids into the American Health Care Act discussion that he was having, that's skill. Massive skill. That's like, we're going to talk about Call of Duty, and in the middle of it, we're going to go on a dissertation about pink dresses. How would you craft that into a Call of Duty discussion? So the fact that he and there was a couple of other things that he got that they hit on, but the Dr. Seuss part was the biggest thing. Talking for 21 hours on one topic is boss, dude. My hat's off to you for being able to craft that even if it was kind of a silly move.
It's impressive. It's quite impressive.
It's very, impressive to me. So I think that's going to wrap it up for 3-bar exploits.
I think so as well.
Cool. Episode 19.
19. Yep.
19. Big 20 coming up. There is some news that may or may not be coming out as soon as we can. We still have some things to work on, but I do want to tease that big things are coming. And I'll leave it there because Oyster really needs to be a part of that. Definitely, his presence is always missed when he's not on the show. Thank you for being here. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please show up next week. Drop your likes down below. And if you want to be a part of this podcast, hit us up. Tweet us using the hashtag 3BarExploits. Thanks, and have a great day.